It's the most anticipated video game movie of the year, the Tetris movie. My favorite part was when the L-shaped block was coming down, but it was going to leave a row with an empty space, and the next block was going to be a long straight block. You could really cut the tension with a knife. My favorite performance was the block that's shaped like a little zigzag, voiced by Willem Dafoe. And my least favorite performance was the square-shaped block, because it was voiced by Chris Pratt. Though the Tetris movie was released on Apple TV around the same time that the Super Mario Bros. Movie hit theaters, its approach is much closer to the Nike Air movie. Hollywood is now so desperate for ideas that its films are nothing more than product placement. A 2-hour commercial for sneakers or video games, where the hero has to be a huckster businessman who lashes himself onto someone with a brilliant idea in order to get rich. Hank Rogers was a producer on this movie, so of course his portrayal is squeaky clean. He's a rugged American individualist facing off against evil Russian mobsters. Supermodel Claudia Schiffer was also a producer for some reason. Tetris is the story of how an American businessman gambled it all on a hot new product to fulfill the American dream. I'd rather see the movie where the businessman bets it all on a product that fails. Where's the movie about the guy who gambled his house and his family's future to invest in the Virtual Boy? Yeah, his wife probably left him, and then he ended his life in Minecraft. There's certainly an interesting story involving the creation and worldwide licensing of Tetris, and Taron Egerton is fine in the role, but I would recommend the gaming historian's YouTube documentary over this dramatized Hollywood film. The movie gets most of the historical facts correct when it comes to the complicated licensing issues between home consoles, arcades, personal computers, and handheld devices, but it also adds in a double agent femme fatale character who tries to honeypot Hank Rogers, and there's a third act car chase scene, both fictionalized attempts to spice up a story that is kind of dry, involving a lot of legal disputes. The screenplay is rather generic. There's the scene where he plays Tetris for the first time and immediately realizes how popular it's going to be. There's the scene where no one believes in him, but he pushes forward anyway. Tetris is an endlessly replayable puzzle game, though I probably won't go back and rewatch the movie. It's not a bad movie, it's just formulaic and not as much fun as I imagined it would be. The game was created by a Russian programmer named Alexei Pajitnov, who couldn't receive royalties from its sales because of the communist government in Russia at the time. He eventually immigrated to America to work in gaming, though Tetris remains his legacy. The game spread virally around Russia for free until an American hustler played the game at a trade show and thought, how can I make money off of someone else's idea? This is the hero of our story, Hank Rogers. Rogers bought the rights to Tetris from a company that bought the rights from someone else, but it turns out that no one really had the rights, so the Russian government accused Rogers of stealing the rights when they realized how much money could be made off of the game. This means the movie has a Russian character who is essentially a Bond villain, puffing on his cigarette, and every time he's talking about Tetris, it feels like something out of a sketch comedy skit.
You go home today, this production of Tetris, all will be forgiven.
The idea of a Tetris movie existing at all actually feels like a joke. The film frames the story of Tetris as one of Cold War espionage, which boils down simply to capitalism good, communism bad. For a movie aimed at an adult audience, it really lacks depth when it comes to its politics. Many of the characters are cartoonish villain stereotypes. Tycoon Robert Maxwell's attire and demeanor immediately suggest that he is a complete prick. He looks like the Penguin from Batman. His son Kevin is also a prick. The movie never once mentions that Robert Maxwell is the father of convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell. It's not really relevant to the story of the film, but it's a fact I think viewers would be interested to know. Tetris is constantly trying to remind us how bad things were in Soviet Russia and how great it is to be a capitalist. There's not really any nuance. Characters keep saying that Russians don't care about money because they're communists, which I don't think is true. I'm no expert, but I'm pretty sure communist countries still place value in money. The synthesizers of the film's musical score are cool at first, but eventually had me tired of hearing variations of the Tetris theme. There are some cute framing devices, such as the use of old-school video game graphics breaking the sections of the film up into levels, but nothing about the direction here is unique. The cinematography is bland. It feels like when they went in to shoot, they always shot from the easiest angle. Tetris isn't a poorly made movie, though it does feel a little cheap. It doesn't surpass the expectations of a straight-to-streaming drama. So the creator of the game never received any royalties, but an American with no programming skills profited financially and didn't lose his house and family, so it's a happy ending. The Tetris movie gets the broad strokes of the story right, while adding in a bunch of Cold War nonsense to turn the licensing of a video game into a spy story involving the KGB.
Слушайте.
It was hard for me to take seriously because of the lack of depth in its characters. I'll give Tetris a 5 out of 10. It's middle of the road, but there is some unintentional humor in hearing all of the characters talk so seriously about Tetris.
300 paid when I get handheld Tetris.
Just imagine some gangster with a heavy Russian accent using intimidation tactics, but he's talking about a damn puzzle game. Just go home. Forget about Tetris. Who is this Dr. Mario? Everyone wants a piece of Yoshi's cookie. As for the ending of the movie, I never knew that the licensing of Tetris actually caused the fall of the Soviet Union. USA, USA, USA. I should have seen the Super Mario Brothers movie instead. Stay tuned for next week when I do a deep dive analysis of the Flamin' Hot Cheetos movie.